What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. Let's talk about the elephant in the room with this $750 Starlight Rare Sky Striker Ace Rose, and also her Ultra Rare rising towards $9, the Sky Striker Ace token towards $7, buyouts happening all over the place. What is going on? Ryan Yu, a very big member of the community, you might remember him from his World's Run in Dragon Duels, he managed to take down the LCS, Luxury Championship Series, and that was over 300 people, 340 I believe, with Sky Strikers taking out Eldritch and Adamanticators alike. And the thing I want to stress about Sky Strikers is you have to have a very big understanding of the metagame as a whole. If you're just rushing after a net decking, it's not gonna go so nicely for you. You've got to know when to react, where to react, what to do with your worst hands, how to actually get that advantage engine to balance out versus something like Eldritch's advantage engine. It's not as easy as, haha, banish from graveyard, go burr. It's not that easy. Actually, look at Gabe's video, Sky Striker 101. It's not your typical 101 video, but it's really hilarious. I'll link that down below to see an experience with a deck like Ryan Yu's in Rated. I think it's a great look at what a lot of you guys are about to experience that are grabbing up this deck. But that being said, the buyouts, some of them I think are actually somewhat good long-term. Sky Striker Ace token, the Japanese only have a common of this, and they're likely to like the holo. I've mentioned how multiple times the Japanese tend to pay way more on the ultimate rares too, even though ultimate rare is not their favorite rarity. They freaking love their Sky Strikers. But Rose over in Japan is way cheaper than what we're seeing on our market, and I do think this will cool down a little bit, but Starlight Rares are the new thing that people are really rushing after. So this is happening while she was already disappearing from market, and then when he won, bam, there goes the $300 one. Somebody bought a $480 and their order got canceled, as I understand it. It sold on eBay too, and that happens with Crystal Commerce, of course. If it's Crystal Commerce and people are hot grabbing things, whoever got the first order in should get the card, and it's not necessarily a canceled relisted order unless you see them relist. So Crystal Commerce problems there for somebody else. And wow, just Sky Strikers all over the place, starting the baby bump, rise in price, disappear off the market for a lot of different copies. Now, I want to bring up something. Not everybody loves the collectibles, but Fnatic over here, they're not a sponsor at all of the channel. They do official Yu-Gi-Oh products, has something interesting. They've gone to classic duel monsters and they have a bunch of different items, such as these metal plated Slifer, Obelisk, Raw, God card things with really good packaging. Almost reminds me of the special editions. They're a bit pricey for what they are, but limited to 5,000. In Funko Pops, those sell out like that. But with a Yu-Gi-Oh item that's unique, that doesn't have a lot of people that know where to drive the traffic towards, I think this will sell slowly, and if at all, selling out. But they also have coins that are 10,000 each, where you can get the bundle cheaper with the binder. I mean, okay, I guess that's fine, but I rarely actually do like the classic Joey and Kaiba looks on the coins. This is just a collectible to consider that maybe you want. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself one, and then one to give away to the audience later, be it on Twitch or here on YouTube. Haven't decided yet, but I'll be going ahead and getting myself something to be aware that it exists. Now, you guys said you really like talking market theory and more general discussion, so I want to actually focus this buyout in multiple places versus other card game communities, and that's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon Retro Pack 1. This is a promo, and you will see actually Italian here available at $5, and the next lowest, towards that note is going to be more of them here at $10, and then they just disappear. You see somebody trying to get 77 on Light Play French, 87 Light Play Italian, waiting for the full buyout, and then $90 on an unlim. Of course it's unlim, it can't come first, it's a promo, for a near mint. Now, I've had actual confirmation that when people were doing this buyout, one of my friends had them listed at $99. And they sold to multiple different people. It wasn't just one person doing this buyout. So this is something that people are really trying to dig into and make happen, yet you have a comparable on market, that $4 Italian and $4 over here. In the Pokemon community, they used to consider like base set 4 and first pretty much trash, but over time, because the comparable has gone so freaking high, eventually it just went up and up and up, and even though the comparable is still like 10x versus it, that increase in the foreign price was very impressive as well. So while people are treating the foreigns like dirt, they're leaving them on market, there are a ton of them that exist. I think if the comparable stays up towards $90, $100, which Fallout will probably mean that it won't stay there, even if people are trying and buying these all the way out to 100, they're going to be sticking very hard to try to do that. The fact that there's a $4 comparable will mean either this goes towards $30 eventually, or this will fall flat on its face. Now, promos have been going up very, very well as we've seen, this towards $200 and actually trying to stick there, and people have rushed after other ones, like when I showed the Summon Skulls were 26s, those went, and other ones have been going off the market pretty much everywhere, even the Jump promo. So this is just the newest focused promo. It is very iconic to the show, classic DM, and let's compare it to Fallout of not so classic, but newer things. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc. Somebody tried to make that go to the moon, and we already see the first edition Ultimate Rares falling out, oh, so much cheaper than $100, $28, $28, $28, people just lining up to sell them. Whenever you go on an initial buyout, even if it has the name Retro Pack 1 behind it, this is a promo. You're going to have people that were waiting, that didn't want to sell this $8, $10, $12, that just kept, and they're going to be, okay, I wanted 30, time to list. And you're going to have to buy out those, and then you're going to have to buy out the next ones to have a successful long-term buyout. That's why you see whenever we list, oh my gosh, I have a $100 card. No. Not quite yet. There's something called Fallout, and it happens with pretty much everything. Remember when number 107 first editions were 120 plus? Now, half of that price available on market. There's not the most available, but there's people that were like, all right, I was waiting for this. I'm going to go ahead and list here. Not all the way up. I don't want to just undercut and never sale and get a sales rate. I'm going to force you to go ahead and buy these out too if you want to continue to try to get above that $100 price. So those people with those pockets, they're not always going to keep going in. They've made their shot. They got them at the prices they wanted, or they did their attempt, and they're not going to continue. But I thought it was very interesting to note versus the Pokemon market that you do have these very, very cheap comparables here that you can use my TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying, to perhaps go in on or stay away from. What do you guys think? With this being one of its, targeted, focused buyouts along with the other promos, do you think the international market will continue to keep it cheap? Or do you think people will eat these up and this will start to go up towards its comparable? We'll have to see how the Fallout actually takes shape, but $5 isn't the worst thing for a Retro Pack promo piece of history, especially with the name that set has going for it. Also, talking about numbers, I wanted to show kind of a piece of history. Remember when Magician of Faith got unbanned and it actually crashed the price, and it took GOAT format being popular to up the price? There's a lot of number hunters out there, and I find it so weird that number 6 first edition is $5 with so many on market, but that's competitive Fallout. So many competitive players don't care about the collectability or number hunters. They all bought this card to do something funny, to do an FTK, to actually try it out. Michael State was doing good with it, and then it ends up in so many different degenerate combos, and I'm bored with it. I don't want to FTK. It's inconsistent. Back onto the market with you. Back to these vendors. I'll go ahead and sell it. I'll take the $3. They can sell it for $5. So whenever there's actually a competitive aspect to a somewhat collectible card that spiked it on market before, we saw this towards $12. Now it's $5, despite being a first edition secret rare max rarity number, which is newer territory for collecting. Here we go, $5. That's Fallout. So always consider with these cards, oh, it's at $100. No, it hasn't faced its Fallout yet. Let's wait a couple weeks or even a couple of months and see what happens, because often it comes to, yeah, that's no $100 card here. It's not matching its number on the market. Eradicator just recently got bought out again. We see the unlims towards, a couple low listings, and then it does quickly go up. But the first editions are gone, back up above the $125 mark. Pretty ridiculous for this card, but, times are what they are. I'm just going to say Eradicator so I don't get demonetized. Man, I don't think it's because of Sky Strikers or anything weird. It's just one of those collectible cards, and maybe somebody wants to make the epic troll Keck W on market, or I really don't know. It's a great card in general. It does have collectability, but yikes. Firewall, this is one I thought I discovered, yet Robbie Cole discovered it yesterday, talking about new age collectibles. Somebody was like, what should I invest in from the Link era? You know, Cyvers to the max. And I was like, first said Firewall's probably it, and Sealed Code of the Duelist. I believe on ARG sale, they were selling it for still $40 sealed for a first edition box. So, like, there's just not much towards these new age boxes that didn't have Starlight rares. They're sad. They have no ultimate rares. They got reprinted the Megaton same rarity. We didn't switch up those rarities yet. There's just this really sad area of old product, and if I was gonna go for something, the Ace Monster, but people did go after that before I even had that thought, and there it is, towards $18 for the first editions. Unlims are still quite a bit cheaper. Also talking about the Silent Magician Mommy, she is up towards $54. I found that out because my stream told me about Silent Paladin. Robbie also beating me to this card, but Silent Paladin, of all things. Y'all after the thighs, y'all after the mommies. This is the proper waifu tax, I feel like. She actually has a spell negate, and a somewhat tricky summon. I mean, you're having to get rid of a spellcaster monster, so maybe in the spellbook engine, if you get it, you tribute the blue boy, use your spellbook draw on something else. She can be kind of thick whenever it comes to her attack, and it's not a bad negate, but it's not worth this. It's weird that people are going after Duelist Pack Ultras once again, though, past the Legendary Duelist. This is kind of new territory in terms of, wow, people are really focusing these things from a while back, and they don't have the stamp Legendary Duelist on it that caused all that hype and craziness towards them. It's more just Silent Mommy, the waifu tax. We actually go in here in the Rivals of the Pharaoh, and people are just completely ignoring poor old Silent Swordsman towards $7, yet he still has an air of collectability versus the game and what he is. Nah, we don't care. You'd be making Isolde instead of tributing the warrior, all that kind of stuff. It's just this weird kind of duality that he has the same kind of effect, but there's the waifu tax. I want to get into this discussion. So Photon Orbital is $65, as I mentioned last Market Watch. The exact same price, by the way, as I showed it. And my discussion is that Rogue is too expensive. Yet you still get comments like this, and this guy's usually level-headed in my comment section, and he says, okay, John, it's official. Your Market Watch officially has too much pull. It took less than an hour of you mentioning Orbital to start another buyout. It's up $6. I know that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players have trouble reading. I have trouble reading my own cards sometimes and comprehending, but numbers are supposed to be your strength. It is literally the same price on screen, not only 2 hours later, 8 hours later, a whole day later, and on top of it, come on, it's right there. It's right there that you can see. And he states that the Galaxy Photon group is freaking out about me for some reason, so that's kind of funny. Like I expect Galaxy players to be able to math. You need to play that deck. And I also say that I don't get your point. I'm fully aware that I have pull on the market. Whenever I focus a card that's already going out, I question if I should, and it's like, it's still news. This is disappearing from the market. Get it sooner than later. It's something that I should talk about, but this is not a Market Watch problem. It's a Yu-Gi-Tube problem. Whenever you have thousands of eyes on any card on the market, whether you're a Yu-Gi-Tuber, a player, it doesn't really matter. Whenever you have thousands of eyes on a card, if they consider it to be good, they'll move towards it. I can scream that it's a good pickup or a good card to get, and it may not move at all. It comes down to the viewers and what they think. Now, whenever you do say something's going off market, it can cause somebody to panic and go ahead and jump towards it. That's why I have to be very, very careful in presenting, but sometimes there can be infinite on market, such as number 30 Acid Golem. I've been talking about number hunting and how it's a realer thing. Now the jump promos were going, there were so many Acid Golems on market, and now the cheapest is $650. The origin of that biome? It's Market Watch, mine specifically. I mentioned this card and its collectability as a jump promo being max rarity and its place in history and actual gameplay versus its funny effect. It's had multiple places where that 3K beater versus no special summoning was worth it, and people went after it from $1 to $6. Yes, Market Watch has direct pull on the market. That's never been argued. It's more so what impact is right. Market man bad, market man bad. At least state the argument why instead of making up falsehoods that I spiked something that didn't. We'll talk about the things I did and then have the open discussion about, well, you know, this wasn't even going out the window. It was at $1 for years. You had your chance. Or, wow, that shouldn't have happened at all. You can have that conversation all you want. I'm fine with that, but don't accuse me of things that didn't happen, then try to make some moral grandstanding out of it. Trap Tricks Rafflesia is finally moving up, and here's a perfect example. I screamed, hey, first edition, this is something you probably should get. It's something people will consider. The actual trap hole is coming. Trap Tricks are getting a lot of gas. There's a Trap Tricks buyout. There's a Trap Tricks buyout. Why aren't people going for the actual playable piece? It's up just a bit, towards $8 for the first edition, and the Mega Pack's going faster because it's easier to make Mega Pack stuff disappear that's older Mega Pack stuff. So this actually received a buyout, but how long did that take versus Market Watch? That's the general kind of discussions. Any Yu-Gi YouTuber, you can have a pointer of the Red Lotus, oh, it's gone, Simo, blame Simo. You can have those things on market. It can be as simple as Farfa making a meme on Bean Soldier. Are you really mad that Bean Soldier is off market? Are you really mad that my beans? Yeah, memes are gonna happen, / you can even have somebody screaming about volcanics in a comment section. People are gonna spend their money how they want, but there still is a responsibility on how I should bring stuff to you, the viewer, and I try my best. Sometimes I don't see that it's going to just straight spike something off market past the point. Like, I thought maybe it raises from $1 to $2. I don't see it going to $6. There was a ton of quantity. Market Watch is pretty unpredictable, but often it's reporting on what's already happened instead of being ahead of it most of the time. But sometimes it is the causation, and there's no denying it. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the more general conversations. I don't mind even taking a look at myself when it does come to the market, but at least bring the facts.